What is up, awesome peeps? Brent McCluskey here with Electrified Reviews, and today we are reviewing the BPM F-15RS folding fat tire electric bike. That is a mouthful. This is a fun bike. It is incredibly powerful with a huge battery, but first, before we dive into the specs, let's roll the B-roll. All right, awesome peeps. So again, this is the BPM Bikes F-15RS. F-15, I'm guessing like after the fighter jet, F-15 fighter. So I'm guessing that's where they got the name from, but this thing does live up to that name as far as speed goes, at least, and power. This thing is a powerhouse of a folder, very fast. We'll get into the specs here in a minute, but before we do, there's a few things I want to talk about with this bike. First of all, starting price for this is going to be $1,795 for this configuration right here, $1,795 USD. They do have a couple other options with smaller batteries and smaller motors for about $1,495, maybe a little bit less, if you don't need something as powerful as this, which we'll see again when we do dive into the specs. But I do like that they have various kind of options here for this bike, which is kind of cool. Only one frame size for this folder. It's going to be this one right here. What you see is what you get right now for this style, the RS from BPM. There's two different colors. There's this black right here, which looks pretty clean, kind of like a matte black, and they also have a camo version of this bike, which is it's kind of like a white color camo pattern, almost like a winter camo. It's kind of nice pattern there. Also, for this bike, or for BPM, they offer a 1-year warranty on the battery and a 90-day warranty on the parts. However, you can upgrade to a 1-year comprehensive warranty, so it'll be 1 year on the parts as well, but they do charge an additional $99 for that. You know, not terrible, but it would be cool if they did include that, you know, in the original price, but whatever. They also do offer free shipping anywhere in the US. I went to their website, checked out their shipping calculator to, you know, just random states in the US, Hawaii, and it seemed like all the states that we tried, they did free shipping, so that's very cool. A lot of times you can go to checkout and you're like, okay, the price is $17.95, then you find out, oh, it's actually $300 for shipping. So I got to give props to BPM for that. Free shipping is, you know, that's always just a nice, like, extra kind of bonus, you know what I'm saying? So, right, let's dive into the specs here on the BPM F-15RS, starting back here with a motor. We're going to have a 1,000 watt hub motor. It's a Bafang motor with 1,000 watts of nominal power. Oh, hello. We're on a bike trail here. Yeah, so this is a city bike. I mean, really, in my opinion, this is kind of a city bike that can tackle some trails, some light trails. And so I figured that since it can do some trails, I wanted to start this review, you know, on a local trail of ours, because this is the kind of style of trails I think this bike will really excel at. We'll dive into that more. But yeah, back to the motor here. 1,000 watts of nominal power, and I'm not sure exactly how much for the peak wattage, maybe around 1,500, but it does have 85 Newton meters of torque. Now you couple that with these 20-inch tires and it gives it even a better mechanical advantage, and this motor just rocks, man. This thing is super powerful, super powerful. This bike only weighs about 60 pounds, which is not too bad given that it is full suspension. It's got that big old motor and this big battery here. So, you know, that motor, 1,000 watts, trying to push this 60-pound bike with the 20-inch tires, it is fast, man. It's powerful. Top speed of 28 miles per hour. You can reach that with a throttle here on the right-hand side, or you can reach that using the Cadence Sensor, the pedal assist. And the Cadence Sensor here is going to be a 12-magnet Cadence Sensor. You can kind of see that right here. Now, like all Cadence sensors, there's going to be kind of a short stop and start delay from the time that I start and stop pedaling to the time the motor actually activates and deactivates, and that's just kind of the nature of all cadence sensors, and that's fine. Typically at bikes at this price point, we do find cadence sensors as opposed to torque sensors, so was definitely expecting that, and not a problem at all. Honestly, cadence sensors are not that not that bad, especially with a bike like this where the throttle is live from 0 miles per hour, so you can kind of overcome that initial delay of the cadence sensor with the throttle. It also does have motor inhibitors built into the brakes, which we'll talk about here in a second, but that also allows you to kind of overcome that lag for the stop by just hitting the brakes, and will instantly cut power to the motor even if it thinks that you're still pedaling, you know? So you can kind of overcome that cadence sensor issue right there. Now the battery for this, on this model, is going to be a 21 amp hour battery, 48 volt system, for a max range of about 50 miles or so, depending on, you know, what level of pedal assist you're in. And that's always what we say for range estimates. That's like a max estimate, right? If you're on the lower pedal assist modes, if you're actually pedaling, you're going on relatively flat ground, but as soon as you start cranking up hills, hitting that throttle, you're gonna drop that max range quite a bit. The battery back here is locking and removable. This is a Silverfish style battery. It's the one that kind of like right behind the seat post here. This is not a bad positioning. It's a little bit far back on the bike, so it does make this a little bit back heavy, especially since we do have that big motor here in the back as well. But it's not the worst positioning, and it does leave it relatively well balanced. It's not too bad. Now the thing about this battery right here though, is if I want to remove this battery, check this out, the saddle is actually in the way of the battery because it comes up like this. So I have to actually take this whole seat post and saddle out of the bike before I can take the battery out. Not a big deal, one extra quick step, but I do want to point that out just to let you know. And thankfully this is a quick release here for the saddle, so I can just, you know, undo this latch, boop, right there, pull this up. A couple seconds later, I can take out the battery. So no issue really there. In the back, we do have a Shimano Tourney derailleur, 7-speed right here. This is a entry-level derailleur. And like we talk about a lot here for the derailleurs, especially for hub motors, the derailleur is not that important. An entry-level derailleur really is going to be pretty much fine because unlike an analog bike, you're just not going to be switching gears as much, you know, because you've got that assist of the motor. So you don't need it to be super quick. You don't need it to be super lightweight either, which is one of the biggest benefits of having a high-end derailleur. That little weight savings, it just doesn't matter. Now, what's cool about this is right back here, you'll see this little metal piece, really small detail, but this cage helps to protect the derailleur if this bike falls over to the right. Nice little piece, super cheap. I wish more companies would add this because it does help protect the derailleur here. Also on the chainring, you'll notice, hopefully you can see here, this is a double-sided chainring guard. So it keeps that chain locked in there nice and tight, and it really helps to prevent derailments towards the outside and the inside of that main chainring because this plastic piece right here covers the chain on both sides. It's very nice. Pedals here are folding. This bike does fold up. We'll show you that here in a second, but yeah, folding pedals as well. So it does kind of, once this thing is folded, it's a pretty low profile. And really that's kind of like one of the biggest points of this bike. It's a folder, right? You want to be able to fold this thing up, stow it in a, you know, in a space somewhere where you don't have a lot of space. You want to be able to drive it to work, fold it up, throw it on your desk, whatever. And that's what is going to be great about all folding bikes, not just this one. In the back, we do have a rack here, and this rack does come with the bike fully assembled. You'll see that it's actually welded onto the frame. You can see the weld points there. So you can't take this rack off, it's part of the bike, but the good news is this rack is going to be super sturdy, super strong. It's not going to come undone or rattle loose over time. And it's also going to be able to hold more weight compared to a rack that's been, you know, screwed into place maybe in just 1 or 2 points. So I do like it when the racks are actually welded onto the frame. They're very cool. Now going over to the front of the bike here, we've got Mozo spring suspension here in the front, about 100 millimeters of travel for this suspension. It does have preload adjust right here on this side, and it does have compression locker and lockout right here on this side. So what's cool about this suspension, because of that preload adjust and the compression adjust there, I can adjust the tension of these forks on the fly. So if I'm a heavier rider and I want to like increase the stiffness of the forks, I can do that with a turn of the dial. If I want to loosen it, make it more bouncy, I can do that as well. So nice little detail right there. It does have an integrated front headlight right here. Not the most powerful headlight. This is just kind of a good headlight to increase visibility, but you're not going to be able to really use this to see at night. If you want to ride at night, definitely recommend buying an aftermarket light. throw it on the handlebars, you know, put it on your helmet, whatever. Just something like a couple thousand lumens to really illuminate your path, you know, because that's just not gonna cut it. This also does come with fenders, front and rear. Those are included. It's not like an upgrade point or anything. The rear fender here was already installed, which is nice, just makes it easier to actually assemble this thing. The front fender and the front headlight, we did have to throw that on. We did have to assemble that ourselves. Assembly overall for this bike, by the way, awesome peeps, is not that difficult. You can kind of get an idea of, you know, how long it takes or what goes into putting this bike together if you want to check out our IGTV unboxing video of this bike. We do all of our unboxings there on IGTV, and just kind of gives you guys a good way to kind of get a feel of, you know, what's in the box, how difficult is it to put together, stuff like that. For the tires here, like I mentioned, they are 20-inch fat tires, 20-inch by 4 inches, and they are fat indeed. And the fat tires are great because they've got that extra wide tire patch. So if you're going through mud, sand, snow, any sort of loose terrain, it's really going to help float over that. It's been raining here quite a bit in California. The ground is soggy. This is a pretty dry trail. However, if I was going through mud, it would. That's where these tires shine, you know. Now the downside about another pro of fat tires is it has a lot of air volume in these. They're just big, you know. And that adds kind of an extra layer of suspension because these tires act as their own suspension when they're not fully deflated. Now, one of the cons of fat tires is there is a huge tire patch. There's a lot of surface area that touches the ground, and it does increase the drag and the rolling resistance of these tires, which will reduce your range. So there's always trade-offs, right? With everything that we do here, it's gonna be trade-offs. But overall, I've really come to like the fat tires, and I know it's kind of a trend right now. It's been trending for a while, but I do appreciate the benefits that fat tires have. I think they're a pretty good choice in a lot of cases. Trying to see what else here. Oh, the brakes, yeah. So for the brakes on this bike, they're gonna be Tektro hydraulic disc brakes, 160 millimeter rotors in the front and the rear here. These are actually really well calibrated brakes. These came like perfectly adjusted out of the box. I didn't have to tweak these at all. And because of that, and because they are hydraulic, the braking power on this is more than enough. It's very good stopping power, which is definitely what you want to see, especially on a bike with fat tires. Because, you know, if you do go through mud, sand, snow, it's going to reduce the effectiveness of the brakes, and also on a bike that goes this fast. So I'm very happy to see that these have really good brakes. Also on the rims here, you'll see the red there in that inner tube, the inner layer. The rims here are punched out, and the reason for that is, number one, it saves weight. Number two, it just looks cool, right? I mean, that looks dope. I like the way that looks. Now, as far as the display and the handlebars go here, we've got this Shimano SIS index trigger shifter here on the right, or the thumb shifter, I guess. This is another entry-level component right here. Not my favorite style of shifter. It does require a little bit of hand movement to actually, like, whoopsie daisy, just almost knocked the bike over. Okay, sorry. It does require a little bit of hand movement, you know, to actually shift gears. You gotta kind of like adjust your hand off the grip. So not a big deal, but just wanted to point that out. Now the display, I'm gonna show you the display here really quick. It's got this extra piece, this little dangling piece. This is a USB Type A port, and I'm guessing this is how you can charge accessories on the go. But there's no adhesive on the back, and there's no evident place to really put that on the display. I'm not really sure where that's supposed to go here. So it's just kind of dangling off to the side. If I'm missing something glaringly obvious, please point it out to me in the comments. Where is this supposed to go? I have no idea. But as far as the actual display goes here, pretty simple display. It's got relatively good visibility in direct sunlight. Long press of the power button to turn it on. Pedal assist level over here on the left, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. That's the pedal assist levels right there. Battery indicator on the top is going to be a 4-bar battery indicator, 25% increments. Not very precise here. Always prefer to see a percentage indicator. Not a big deal though. Time ridden up on the top right. Current speed and the odometer or tripometer right here. If you just tap the power button, it'll switch to average speed, and the odometer, tap it again, max speed, and how much voltage is left. So this is actually a much better way to see how much juice is left in the batteries by using the voltage indicator right here instead of the actual battery indicator. And if you tap it again, it'll go back to the current speed right there. So yeah, you know, clean, simple little display. I do like that it has the buttons here all in one place, so it's not like an independent button pad. Just keeps it kind of nice and streamlined there. So let me actually fold this thing up for you guys so you can get an idea of what this looks like when it's folded, how long it takes to fold, all that good stuff. So, all right. So to fold this, you've got this lever right here. First thing we want to do is undo that, just undo the latch, slide this over. I think we have to lift this up. Yeah, lift it up, which is good because that's kind of like a secondary safety thing there, like a safety latch to make sure that you have to do one extra step before it unfolds. So that's good. Fold it in half, get that kickstand up. Boom. And we can fold the handlebars as well, just like that. And there we go. Once it's folded, it should stand up on its own. It looks like it's a little lopsided. Yeah, well, what can you do? Oh, there we go. Okay. So it does stand on its own. And one of the reasons for that, or the reason for that, is because of this bar right here on the beneath. You probably can't see it from that angle, but it's a metal bracket basically for this bike to rest on when it's folded. Just allows you to kind of leave it unattended, hopefully so it does not fall over, you know, when it's just by itself. So to unfold it, same thing, just in reverse. We'll go ahead and get these handlebars up, go like that. Bring this back over. And it's pretty much that simple. So it just takes a few seconds really to get this thing folded and unfolded. Not too difficult at all. One last thing I do want to mention here is about the batteries. These are actually Samsung cells for the batteries, which is nice. Those are high-end cells. It should help to give you a little bit more juice out of each charge and hopefully increase the overall longevity of these batteries compared to like maybe an LG or, you know, not as high-end of a cell there. Also, I forgot to mention the suspension here in the back. This does have a little spring suspension. It's not going to be super absorbent. It's going to help a little bit, but again, this is not really like a off-road, you know, hardcore bike. This is for like city riding and some trails. So look, we've covered the BPM F-15RS. Now the next thing to do is take this for a test ride. So here we go. All right, awesome peeps, that is pretty much it for the review of the BPM F-15RS folding fat tire electric bike right here. Again, in summary, this electric bike does start for $17.95, which is kind of in the upper tier of the affordable price range right there. But for that price, it does come with some pretty cool features. Like we talked about, that 1,000-watt motor here in the back with the 85 Newton meters of torque. This is the most powerful folding electric bike that we have tested so far. This thing is powerful. The huge 21 amp hour battery, 50-mile range, very cool. Full suspension setup. It does fold pretty easily. This is just going to be a really good bike, awesome piece for anybody who is, number one, limited on space, and number two, needs a capable electric bike for commuting or even for some light trail use. This is going to be a really good bike for RVers, for campers, or just for those with limited space. And as far as folders goes, this is one of the cooler folders we've tested just because of that motor and the battery combo here. This thing is, it's pretty powerful, it's pretty fast, and it does get that top speed of 28 miles per hour. I mean, like, just lickety split. It's a really fun bike to ride. And again, for those with limited space, this is gonna really fit that bill pretty well, I think. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.